all about Him. And He wants you to learn to obey and to say, God, it's yours. What am I to worry about it? You gave it to me. I'm nothing. Just what do you want me to do? Whatever it is, let me do it. That's nothing. That's a spirit of nothing. Because when you think you're something, you're deceiving yourself. And where I think we're in such a state, such a tragic, scary time right now with such great opportunity. And if we can't come to a place of realizing we're nothing, we're not going to get the gain that God wants us to get. We're not going to get to the place God wants us to get to. We're not going to get there. We're not going to get there until we realize it's all about Him and we're really nothing. Let's go a little further. Verse 5, for every man shall bear his own burden. You know I've cried many tears. I've prayed many prayers for many people. And it's been people that's left the church. It's been people from another church. But I can't bear their burdens. I can't bear yours. I've prayed for the families here. The burdens you've been through. I can't. I really can't. I cannot pick up your pains, your agonies, and carry them. You have to carry your own. Whatever life comes at you, whatever situations comes at you, and I know that some of our burdens are getting very heavy on ourselves. I know that burdens are getting extremely heavy, but He says, I can't carry it. I can't carry it for you. I'll help you pray for it. I'll help you any way I can. But that burden is still going to be yours to go through. Why is it ours to go through? God's working on us. He's taking us through something that He's trying to teach us. As we've learned through all of it, it's about the potter's hands working on the clay. He's trying to mold us into vessels of honor. And what is a vessel of honor? A vessel that realizes it's just a little old vessel sitting there. It's nothing. You ever seen a vase sitting there? Is it really something or is it really nothing? It can't do nothing, can it? It's got to have somebody help it, don't it? It can't get up and walk, can it? Somebody's got to pick it up and carry it, don't they? If they want it clean, if it needs to be cleaned, it can't even clean itself, can it? Somebody's got to get the Windex or whatever y'all use to wipe it off and get the dust off. It can't even clean itself, can it? Can't do nothing, can it? That's nothing. So are you thinking you're nothing? Or are you thinking you're something? When you got up today to take a shower, and I believe most of us got one, I don't smell nobody stinking out there. Is it God gave us the ability to take the shower, or do we think we did it? Did you? Nothing. We're a little vase that's being molded by a big mighty hand of God. We're clay that's being molded. Is that clay, can it do anything? Can clay do anything without a machine moves it or a man moves it? It's nothing. It can't have no control. Only control it has is whatever the potter does, right? So are we something or are we nothing? Which one is it? But your burdens is what's molding you into what God wants you to be. The situations we're going through so that we look at things differently. There's things in our life that we do not see, we do not recognize, and God is trying to show us things. He's trying to open our eyes to situations in our life because we think we're something. And before you leave here tonight, you better realize that you're thinking you're something when you better be thinking you're nothing because you're deceiving yourself. You're deceiving yourself. This is what is preventing us from the fullness of God and getting to the place He wants us to be, that we can be great people of God, like the great prophets of God, to get to a place to realize we ain't nothing without Him. That's what's preventing this world today because everybody's thinking there's something when we can't do nothing. We can't do a thing. And he goes on. Verse 6, let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. Be not deceived, for God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. God ain't deceived about anything. Your life, my life, our life, anything that's going on. He knows the absolute core truth, even though we may not. You know, it is a fact that we can hide things inside ourselves that we really don't know. Have you not ever had anything revealed to you by God that you wasn't even really aware in yourself? That maybe you was mean to someone that you wouldn't even realize it, or maybe you had some pride issues in your life you didn't even recognize them, or something going on. And maybe God is working on you about that. Let me tell you something. You got burdens going on and situations going on. The potter's working on you. He's trying to tell you something. Be not deceived, because God knows. He knows. He knows. He knows these things. He knows all these things. Be not deceived by anything. God knows the real core problem. And like we've always said, you can't solve the issue till you get to the core problem. You can keep trying to fight a fire and knock it down, but it's going to keep coming back until you get down to the core of it and put it completely out. It will keep flashing back up. Well, guess what? God knows what's in at the core. He knows what the real situation is, the real problem is. Like I was talking earlier about getting that power and ability, that strength, whenever all the burdens are laying upon your shoulders so much that it's hard for you to get the strength to push yourself. God knows what the core problem is. It prevents us from really trusting Him and going on no matter what we're facing. And He's trying to show us. He loves us enough to try to show us what's preventing it. He loves us enough to really wake us up if we will just pay attention. Or if we've talked about many times in Bible study we've been through many times, guess what? If we don't get it the first time, it's going to come back around again. God will show you your problems. He will show you your situations. He loves you enough to show you inside of ourselves. Which one of us does we not believe that our heart is wicked above all things? That's what the Word says. When you read in Genesis, because I went back over and I began reading in Genesis again, and he's talking about how man is desperately wicked. Always. Desperately wicked. Why? Because in Jeremiah he said the heart is deceiving above all things. It's easy to be deceived and be turned and think it's right about things and think it's something about things and think it's something in everything. But be not deceived with God. He knows what the real truths are. He knows how to get to that heart to get that problem out so He can mold you into that being that will know it's nothing and it's all about Jesus. And this is what He's trying to take you and me to. He's trying to take us to the place that we will come to the point that we realize it's all about Jesus. And I'm just a pot of clay. I can't do nothing. I can't even move from here to there without Him letting me. Even though I'm moving, I can't do it if He won't let me. Because if He said, Shane, die now, I die right now. I'm gone. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. If I'm on an operating table with 50 doctors, they can't bring me back. They can't do it. When He speaks it, it's over. Whatever it may be. We're nothing. We're nothing but a pot of clay that can do nothing without the Master. Can do nothing. But God is not mocked, He said. He said God is not mocked in this, and we better recognize that beyond all things. And He said you'll reap. He goes on. He said God is not deceived, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. Let's go a little further. 8. For he that soweth to his flesh shall the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Now, what's He talking about? Now, God ain't deceived. He knows what we're sowing, and He knows what we're going to reap. Now, if we're sowing to the flesh, how do you know? How do you know? What do you get in return? Misery. Yeah.